Welcome to that American football show powered by EP Sports. EP Sports is one of the top suppliers in the UK for all your NFL needs. Check them out today at epsports.co.uk. So, three big games over the weekend with the Dragons getting their first win. Centurions toppled the Surge, and there was a huge match between Wroclaw and Hamburg. And we will get to that, but we will just touch on a bit of news around the league, not too much. Main one is the Dragons have parted ways. We're not actually sure if it's a release or a cut or whatever, but they parted ways with their DC for personal reasons. And they are now proceeding with Michael Wood, who's one of their defensive coaches, as their new DC. I mean, considering the Dragons get a win, is it a good thing for them? Their defense is, arguably not great for them in certain aspects.
I do think, looking at the word in the statement, that it is actually personal reasons. I know a lot of times personal reasons means they were being nice about firing someone, but I just think this genuinely is something like that. So, but saying all that, the Dragons D could do with a bit of a change. It's not been great. The offense has been good, but the defenses have been holding them back a little bit.
Yeah, I think it is because there wasn't any real reason to fire them. It's not like defense has been fucking, but they've just not been able to win games, really. Other news is the Chio MVP, which is the MVP selected by the league each week, was Gene Constant, who we've just had on. So congratulations, Gene. It was hell well deserved because he had an absolute fantastic game.
Balled out.
But yeah, let's just go straight into the games now. So, Tim, do you want to start us off with our first one?
I will do. Hamburg 26, Wroclaw Panthers 23.
And this is intercepted. And this may be coming all the way back. It is. It's Darius Robinson. Touchdown, Panthers. So Clark looking to throw for the first time, but he's going to have to scramble out of the pocket. He's got plenty of room ahead of him, and he may go all the way into the end zone. The official will throw up two hands, touchdown. From his own 25-yard line, looking to throw the ball, looking to pick up a big chunk of yardage, and that's a lot of real estate. Bonnet goes from the 25 to the 15 and
between the two of the top three teams in the league, certainly matched up. It lived up to pre-game hype, played for a crowd of 4,500, very loud people. It seemed like a great atmosphere. Xavier Johnson returned the opening kickoff 56 yards to set the Sea Devils offense up in really great field position. And then a few plays later, Jadrian Clark ran 19 yards for a touchdown. Quite a good little scamper for him there. But then after that, the teams held each other in check for a while before a good drive by the Panthers led to a 2-yard touchdown run by previous guest Phileas Pascalini. The point after the touchdown was blocked. The Panthers then increased the lead with a 41-yard field goal. It seems to be a pattern that the field goal kickers are getting better and better. There seems to be a lot longer kicks than early in the season. That gave them a 9-7 lead. Panthers then built on that lead in the second quarter with a pick six by Darius Robinson. Sea Devils came back with a touchdown run by Xavier Johnson in the third quarter after a nice 72-yard drive, which mixed the pass and the run. And then a touchdown pass by Clark to Ceresto gave them a 20-16 lead. This is usually the point in games where Hamburg pulls away, but the Panthers are a different team. They weren't done. There's a drive led by a touchdown pass from O'Connor to Stargresk that made the score 23-20 at the end of the third. After that, the defenses tightened up. Neither of them were going to give up a big play. But Hamburg managed to get two long field goals, a 51-yarder and a 47-yarder by Anderson. That gave them a 26-23 lead. So with 1 minute, 11 seconds left on the clock, the Panthers started on their own 23-yard line. It didn't look good. 2 incompletions and a sack, giving a 4th and 17. O'Connor then hit Bannock for 51 yards. This set up the Panthers in great field position on Hamburg 33. They only had 7 seconds left, but they tried one more play. O'Connor tried to, I don't know whether he was going for it all or whether he just wanted better field position. But the ball was batted at the line of scrimmage and was intercepted by Yeboah, and that ended the game. So it wasn't a highest scoring game of the season, but it was a pretty good game to watch, very entertaining. So the MVP of the game for me is the Sea Devils defense. Sea Devils now 5-0, and they go on to the Resurgent Dragons next week, and the Panthers are 3-2, and they play Cologne next week. It's also worth noting the Panthers' 2 losses are against the Galaxy and the Sea Devils. A bit of a footnote, the Sea Devils have reportedly signed linebacker Darius Galloway. He was the leading receiver in the fan-controlled football league. That's the same league that Madre London played in. It's also the indoor league that Johnny Manziel played in. And this is according to Fan Control News on Twitter. Now, Xavier Johnson was injured during the game, so it might be a serious injury, given that there's restrictions on the number of imports each team is allowed. But none of this news has actually been confirmed by the team. It was just something that was on Twitter. But it did look like a bad injury. It did go down a couple of times. So yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, they've only lost to the 2 other top teams, and they've both been ridiculously close games. So definitely up there with them still.
Would you say that the defense is the stronger unit out of the 2 for the Sea Devils?
Absolutely, 100%. If you look at the offensive stats, there's nothing spectacular. They don't have a Zach Edwards or a Gene Constant or a Madre London. They all seem to do their job, but you look at that defense and it's pretty crazy. Also very good special teams. So, there's not that much pressure on the offense because they usually have pretty good field position to start games.
Darius Robinson as well. His name crops up every single time we talk about his game, whether that's returning or defense. Like he seems to be smashing it. Let's move on to the second game, though, which was, as Tim said, the Resurgent Dragons taking on the Berlin Thunder. The Dragons would take this 48-16.
Receiver set. Gets it to Crawford. Crawford crosses the line of scrimmage, the first down and more, down the sideline, and able to get down far side, one man to beat, and he's finally shoved out of bounds. They're going to mark him inside the 10 to about the 9. So here's Edwards. Looking, sends a pass, deep field, and it is pulled in! And that's Constant and a penalty marker on the field! Gene Constant, unbelievable. He has 2 touchdowns. 4 receivers. Bill high snap. Zerbe lets it fly, and the pass is caught by Jones for a touchdown. Dontavius Jones able to leap up for a beautiful offensive play, and he is just loving it. Beautiful 50-50 ball, and Jones was able to bring it in right on the money by Zerbe.
So the Barcelona fans finally get their first win, and boy, do they deserve it. They've really, the fans have showed up every single game for them, and not necessarily have all been close games for them. But the Thunder come to Barcelona without starting quarterback Calvin Stitt. We're not sure why he's not there, which probably hindered the chances. But the Dragons went off just on all sides of the field, really. Game started with Gene Constant, who I will be talking about a lot this game, getting an 80-yard return on the first play for scrimmage. And the Dragons then dinked and dunked it in, with Edwards connecting with Bertolini on a slant route. The Thunder would then respond pretty well. John Crawford got a really big 60-yard run. And then the second stringer, who was called Zerbe, second string quarterback, he hits Shantavius Jones, who was just unbelievable. Both the touchdowns he had this game were right. One was right on the pylon, one was right on the sideline. He's really one to watch out for. He's always keeping the Thunder in games. But yeah, caught a touchdown in the end zone. Both teams in a back-to-back punts. And punt to the Dragons resulted in Gene Constant taking the ball to the 27-yard line. And he would then just take a slant route into the end zone. Tavecchio has made both the kicks for these touchdowns, so it's 14-6. Berlin would then get the ball again and start to move it. They did some wildcat, which is always fun to watch. And there was a lot of Jock Crawford for this drive. It would only result in a field goal. But the Dragons had some really good pass defense on the line when needed, including UK defensive end Adedeo Odeleye. who is the defensive end for the Thunder. He got a really big third down sack and stopped the Dragons getting any points. And then on the return drive, Zerby found Shantavius Jones for his second touchdown, which brought the score to 16-14, and the Thunder's first lead of the game. As the 2-minute warning came here, the Dragons put on a really good drive. There was a really, really nice deep crossing route to Gene Constant. He basically got past 5 defenders and just zoomed past them all with a really nice deep ball by Zach Edwards. And the half would end with the Dragons trying again a 56-yard field goal, but unfortunately missing. So with 21-16 going into the half. And then the Thunder got the ball back in the second half, but really started to struggle here. It was a bit reminiscent of their Hamburg game. Struggled to get the ball to anyone really but Shantavius Jones and Jock Crawford. The Dragons offense just started lining up. There's a really big 60-yard bomb to guess who, Gene Constant, which was such a bad defensive PI, but Gene came up with the ball and it was great. And then it was a nice short pass to Bertolini to make the score 28-16. The Dragons defensive back Vera would then get the first interception of the game from Zerby. And the Dragons would proceed to punt that ball back. But just a shout out to Anthony Monson, the running back for the Dragons, who had a really good catch. Jock Crawford then again started put on some really nice runs for the Thunder, but no avail. Dragons put the pressure on that defense all game, and you could tell by the end of it. And Constant got another really nice sideline catch right over the shoulder, which was followed by Constant getting his second touchdown on the game. Thunder would block the PAT, so it brings it 34-16. And then the kind of story of this game was then Zerby was just trying to make something happen through 2 pick sixes on 2 drives. So really put the nail in the coffin. Masira and Vera both getting one of those, which would bring the game to 48-16 to completion. My MVP for this game, I think it's obvious, Gene Constant, 9 catches, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 87 yards returning. And my honourable mention, Jock Crawford, who had a really good game, 23 attempts, 201 yards. So any 200-yard game's good in my book. But he also put 3 receptions for 16 yards and a pass for 12 yards on that. So multi-talented. A couple of notes, as Tim said, Dragons are going to play Hamburg, which I think is going to be exciting because the Dragons do look like they've got their shit together now. And the Thunder head to the 1-4 Kings. So there's only going to be there's going to be a couple of one-team winners still next week. But yeah, I honestly really enjoyed the game. I think Zach and Gene finally had that connection going all game, and it showed.
Yeah, it was great to watch. Really great to see Constant just ball out. Like I said before, it was a great performance. He was just, whenever they needed a guy, he was their go-to guy. We've been saying for a while that they've been looking better and better every week, and I think they're finally starting to show it now. I don't think he was lying when he was saying they have been missing quite a lot of guys, and some of them obviously were key guys for that side. Now that they've got them back, they look like a whole different side.
So has the offensive line been playing better since they changed coaches?
Yes, because they're doing better on every single thing. But I think it's also they played Thunder, and then the week before that, they played Stuttgart. So the Surge do have a good defense for fair play, but they've not played one of the top 3 teams since the beginning of the season. So I really think going against Hamburg, they're going to see how good their offensive line is there.
I think throughout the league, you can see game practice is helping a lot of players. Just as I mentioned, the kickers, you look at the sort of field goals that are being kicked now compared to the start of the season, where they couldn't hit a horse's ass with a banjo, quite frankly. But now they're regularly knocking 40, 50 yarders through.
Do you regularly hit horses with banjos?
All the time.
Craig, I'm going to wrap this up for us.
Yeah, so I had the Cologne Centurions and the Surge in this game. So just
Ellison, 3rd down and 7, looking up top again off his back foot. Is that Steigerwald again? It is at the 50-yard line.
Ball will be spotted at the 20. So here's London again trying to escape some trouble. And he does momentarily. Madre London on the cutback. All kinds of daylight into the end zone. A highlight reel play. Touchdown Cologne.
3rd down and 9. Feinreich looking up top for Pounds. Got it. Touchdown Cologne.
The Centurions, they started off the game on offense with a great first pass to Quinton Pounds. After a few runs by London and a couple of long third downs, they were able to keep moving the chains, and eventually London got the ball once again on an outside zone to the right, managed to cut back to the left and walk it into the end zone for the first score. The PAT was good on the first drive of the Surge. However, it wasn't quite as cut and dry. They were a bit more slow to get going. The Centurions defense stepped up and sacked quarterback Aaron Ellis on a long third down, which forced the Surge to punt the ball. After a short punt, the Centurions were back in possession and managed to move the ball on the ground early in the game, and they'd already racked up a lot of yards in the first quarter. A long arc and pass by quarterback Jan Weinrich. Is that right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm not the best with pronunciations. To Quinton Pounds again, who had quite the game. He made an incredible dive and catch, really was. Put the Centurions on the scoreboard again. PAT was blocked by Zachary Blair. He did block another kick later in the game, so fair play. It's not easily done. And it was returned by the Surge for the 2-point conversion, which finally put them on the board. Short punt returned by Marcel Debo. Running back Yankson fumbled the ball, and the Centurions took over inside the 5-yard line of the Surge. Quarterback Weinrich passed the ball to his wide open fullback for the third touchdown in the first quarter. PAT was no good. The score stood 19-12 at this point, with the Centurions dominating the game up to at the end of the first quarter. Unfortunately, for the Surge, a great kickoff return by Debo for the touchdown was nullified and brought back after the penalty, which I think really hurt them because they were finally starting to get some momentum going. At the beginning of the second quarter, Ellis was under a lot of pressure. He was able to fire a deep pass into the end zone to wide receiver Louis Greer for a score, and the PAT was good, leaving the Surge trailing by 10 points. The Centurions quarterback Weinrich fired a nice deep pass to Pounds for a huge 62-yard score. In response, PAT was no good again. Quite a common theme for the Centurions in this game. They missed quite a few PATs. I think that's something they definitely need to work on. Stuttgart Surge tried to answer this with points on their next drive and moved the change for quick passes to avoid constant pressure brought by the Centurions front seven. Quarterback Ellis found his receiver Steigerwald on 3 consecutive plays on the left side of the field, which gained the Surge a lot of yards, and a couple of plays later was able to find Wolf Rafalski wide open in the end zone for their second touchdown of the game. PAT for them was no good. With the Centurions back in possession, they moved the ball primarily through the air as the Surge defense was in control of the running game at this point. The Surge did a really good job of shutting London down in the middle point of this game, which is not an easy feat. After London was stopped in the backfield, then Weinrich fired another pass into the end zone to Pounds again, who held the ball in the end zone in tight coverage by Debo for their next score. PAT was blocked, but was recovered by the Centurions in the end zone, and Cologne got the 2 points for that one, making the score 30-15 at the half. So second half, the Stuttgart Surge, they started their first drive of the second half with just quick passes in the air to Steigerwald and Geyer. Ellis and his offense moved into Centurions territory, but turned the ball over on downs, unfortunately. And then the Centurions took over deep in their own half, and they tried to run the ball again. With London with a lot of success, he was able to grind his way down the field to the end zone, with Reinrich able to run it in himself on a QB sneak on the 1-yard line. The PAT was blocked by Blair again on that one for the second time. Debo returned the ball for a 2-point conversion for Stuttgart, and it set the score 39-17 going into the fourth quarter. At the beginning of the fourth, after both sides being forced to punt, the Centurions defense stepped up and decided to finally sort of make a difference in this game and intercepted the Surge quarterback Ellis. Centurions were back in possession at the Surge 49-yard line, and started with a great run by running back by London. During that play, the Surge linebacker Dale Warren was unfortunately injured and was out for the rest of the game, which you could tell the Surge definitely felt is missing his presence, and they struggled there. With Ellis taking shots down the field, however, Stuttgart did manage to march down the field with short passes and was able to gain only a few yards per play, which ran the clock down, unfortunately for them, but it was good to see them making some headway. Finally, on a great pass to Steigerwald, Stuttgart was in the red zone with a last chance to put points on the board. Ellis fired a pass into the end zone to Steigerwald, who caught it for the touchdown. The PAT was good on that one. But then Cologne ran out the clock, ended the game 39 to the Centurions, 23 to the Surge. Just to quickly round that up, it was quite a high-scoring game, which the Centurions won just due to a strong performance from Weinrich and from Quinton Pounds, who we've had on before on the show. Great guy. The Stuttgart Surge defense did figure out a way to shut down Madrid London for a good portion of this game, which was good to see. It shows a lot of promise there on the defense, but unfortunately they did have some holes in the secondary which were exploited, particularly by Pounds. So the 2-3 Stuttgart Surge will face Galaxy next Sunday, who sit top of the South Conference. The Centurions, they play the Panthers, which I'm really looking forward to. That'll be a good, interesting inter-conference matchup. My MVP in this game is Quinton Pounds. 11 catches, 242 yards, 20 yards on a kick return and 3 touchdowns. But I would like to give some honourable mentions to Blair, who blocked two PATs, which isn't easily done, to Debo for the kick return touchdown, even though it was nullified, and for also retaining the 2-point conversion. And then to Steigerwald, who also got 11 catches in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Gene Constant actually got the MVP considering the stats that Quinton Pounds put.
Yeah, he had quite a game, mate. Definitely had quite a game.
I think it was Weinreich's best game as quarterback as well, because he's had a few average games, but that is really good game.
Yeah, his best game.
He was, well, because the Surge did such a good job of managing to shut London down, because he did just get stopped outright by Aaron Gimmins quite a few times in this game. He was sort of forced in a position where he had to throw. Fortunately, he's got quality to throw to, like Pounds, but he definitely shown what he can do.
I think it's quite funny you talk about shutting down London. What's happened, I think, is London started to look like a very good quarterback now, rather than the absolutely elite running for 355-yard guy that he was before. I think it's a mixture of teams getting film now. I think I can't remember who else said this, that now they're starting to get film on players so they know what to expect now. And also, he was carrying like 44 times a game. So, don't get me wrong, 26 carries for 120 yards and 4.7 average is still really good. But I think he's not going to reach the level that he was at the start of the season, 350 odd yards a game.
He's definitely had a lot of carries, and it could be wearing them down, like you said. I think teams are also sort of knowing that. I think up until that point, they've been leaning on him a lot. So they were throwing more guys into the box to try and just to shut them down. Teams are sort of working. I think they're working a lot more on their fundamentals in case he does cut back and stuff like that. You do have guys who can try and cover. But yeah, it was nice to see that there is a lot more to that offense than just handing the ball to Madre and letting him do his thing.
Yeah, I think Madre's aware of that as well, because on Twitter he said, "Hold up, I got a little more before you say I'm finished." So he's still got a lot more to come.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's the game planning of the Centurions as well, because they're going to keep seeing the teams that have now learned to stack the box against Madre. They're going, "Oh, we've now got one-on-one coverage against Quinton Pounds."
Yeah, we've got a pretty good wide receiver out there we can throw to. So
definitely.
Okay, so that's our 3 reviews for this weekend, and as we've spoken about, we've got some pretty cracking games coming up this weekend as well. We are now going to do some mid-season power rankings. So we've all brought our own list. Joe's given us his as well, so we can go over his first. And I can already see there's going to be a lot of disagreements here. So please do feel
just before we start, a little disclaimer: this is just our opinion. If you don't agree with our opinion, we would like to see what your opinion is, but it's just our opinion, okay? So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Let us know why you think we're wrong, why you think we're right, and let us know what you think your rankings are, just so we can talk to you about them as well, because we are by no means professional analysts.
We love all the teams, so any players that we rank your team low, please do still come on the podcast.
Yeah, don't want to make them feel like this is just our opinion and we're ranking the teams in order. So should we go through Joe's first? So he's the first whipping boy. So Joe's order is Sea Devils at top, followed by the Frankfurt Galaxy, followed by the Wroclaw Panthers. So I think we're all going to hover with those 3 around the top. This is where it really gets interesting. So he's gone Centurions 4th, he's gone Surge 5th, Dragons 6th, the Thunder 7th, and the Kings 8th. Tim, what do you think of that?
It's very close to what I've got. So do you want me to do mine now and then, because it's virtually the same as Joe's?
Yeah, go for it. We'll just get all of ours out of the way and we'll talk about.
Okay. So I've got Hamburg first. I've got Frankfurt second. Then I've got the Panthers third. I've got the Centurions fourth. Stuttgart fifth. I've got the Dragons sixth. Then I've got the Kings seventh. And I've got the Thunder eighth.
So you're all the same up until the last two. That's fair. I think. I mean, I'll hold my judgment, but I think you got the Kings a little low. Craig, do you want to go through yours?
Yeah, so mine aren't too different, to be honest. I've got Hamburg at 1. I've got Galaxy shortly behind them at 2, and then I've got the Panthers shortly behind them at 3. I do think the Panthers could potentially overtake the Galaxy. The Panthers do look like they're getting better every week. They are leading. When you look at the stats, they are leading in a lot of categories. They are definitely a more diverse team across the board. So they could definitely mix it up and jump into that top 3 spot. Anyway, 4th, I've got Cologne. 5, I've got Barcelona. 6, I've got the Surge. 7, I've got the Kings. And 8, I've got the Thunder.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm closer to you than anything over there, so I'll just flick through mine. It's a Hamburg at first, which we've all agreed on. I'm the only person who's put Panthers second. I've got Frankfurt third. 4th, I've got the Centurions, which we've all agreed on.
Yeah.
5th, I've got the Dragons. 6th, I've got the Surge. 7th, I got the Kings, and 8th, I got the Thunder. So I think you and me just differ on one there, Craig.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's go through all of our. So obviously Hamburg at top, they're the undefeated team.
Yeah.
That just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say why I put Wroclaw before Frankfurt. Obviously the records indicate that Wroclaw are currently worse. The 2 games that they have lost to Frankfurt and Hamburg have been extraordinarily close. I think Lucas O'Connor is at the top of the quarterbacks with Zach Edwards.
He is, yeah. He's number 1 at the moment.
I think he's very, very good at what he does. And that's no discredit to Jadrian or who's the Galaxy quarterback again? Sorry.
Jacob Sullivan.
Yeah, it's no discredit to them because they are fantastic as well. I think Lucas and Zach are the top of the crop there. But yeah, I totally see why you've got Frankfurt second, because it was a pretty much a flip of the coin.
Well, like I've just said, I was torn between the two. I think between the 2 teams, I wouldn't say the Galaxy look like they're regressing. I just know they're a bit banged up.
Yeah,
whereas the Panthers do look like they are definitely getting better. Like you said, Lucas leads in quarterback, but you look through a lot of the other tables, like Phileas, who we were talking to the other day, I think he's like 3rd or 4th in the running back rankings.
3 very running backs as well.
But Nat's up there in reception yards. He's like top 3, I think. William Lloyd, he's up there. He's either leading tackler or second tackler at the moment. So there's definitely a lot more across the board, I think, across the entire team.
Yeah, Galaxy, don't forget, I've lost Cadell. They've lost a couple of other players as well. So you're exactly right with Panthers. I think I said this to Phileas. They've got a lot of strength in depth because Mark Hendon actually started the game at running back, but he actually got injured, and then Phileas came in, took over seamlessly. So they've got a lot of strength in depth to. So yeah, top 3. Hamburg, Frankfurt, Wroclaw. I think those 3 are actually a tier above everyone else at the minute.
Yeah, and so we've all put the Centurions fourth. Are they the best contender to crack the top 3 just because their offense is so powerful?
Yeah, I would say so. They've definitely showed that there's more to them than just a dominant running game at the moment. Mm-hmm. They can hit you either way. If you let them, it's going to be tough to stop either way. And then I think out of the group below them, they're definitely sort of I'd say the cream of the crop of that group, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to be a little bit torn on who's joining the Centurions, because I think you and Joe, Tim, put Surge 5th, and me and Craig have gone with the Dragons.
Yeah, so for me, I think the Surge definitely are getting better with their quarterback. But there's a lot of gaps in that team. But I wasn't confident enough. I've jumped the Dragons up to 6th, but I wasn't confident to put them 5th because they've only won one game. But I can see why you'd put the Dragons 5th, because I think from what I saw last week, they're going to make a surge. They're better than the record, definitely.
I did think that. I did wonder if I was too generous with the Dragons or too tough on the Surge. I think them two you could interchange, and I wouldn't argue that point.
I think like with how I look at mid-season power ranks, I'm like, at this current point in the season, how would you rank each team? Obviously past performance does factor into it, but at this moment in the league, which teams are up on the up and up and which teams are on the down and down, and which teams can you rank? That's just how I look at it, though.
Yeah, I would definitely say the Dragons are on the up. I'd definitely say the Panthers are on the up. The Surge are the team I find really hard to get a feel for, particularly on their offense as well. Like their defense is good, but I don't know. I find them hard to get to grips with, like in terms of just where I think they're at.
I think the EFL have actually find it hard to get grips with the players in the Surge as well, because according to league stats, Dimitri Geffler is the lead quarterback of the Surge, not Aaron Ellis. They keep putting the wrong name on the official game stats, which is really odd.
And then we've all got the Thunder and the Kings in the bottom. Is it you and Joe that have put Kings bottomers, or just Joe?
I've got Thunder bottom and the Kings 7th.
I've gone Kings too.
I've got the Kings there because they've got the highest number of points against. They've let in 211 points. And the Thunder, it's kind of 7A and 7B for me. And both of them seem to be having quarterback problems. I don't know where Michael Birdsong's gone. I know he was injured, so it must be a pretty serious injury if he's still out, because he was one of the better quarterbacks early in the season. And Berlin, I don't know what's happened to Calvin Stitt either, whether he's injured or benched. We're not entirely sure. There's nothing come up in the injury report about that.
He was getting hit a lot in the previous games. He was taking so many hits.
Yeah, he was taking a lot of punishment.
Yeah.
And I mean, touching on, I literally put the Kings above the Thunder because I thought if Michael Birdsong comes back, they're the better team. I don't know when he's coming back. So if he is out for the season, the Thunder are arguably the better team.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Thunder, that Nasri, linebacker for them, he's a baller. He's fun to watch.
They've got exciting players on the Thunder. Like they are a good team to watch. They just fall short at a couple of bits each time during a game, and they can't win it.
They do have some great linebackers.
And I do think, again, it goes to strength of squad, because if you get a couple of injuries and you're not as strong as, say, Hamburg or the Panthers or the Galaxy, you're going to be struggling, which you can see by the results in the rankings.
I mean, because arguably Shantavius Jones is the best receiver. I think the top three you could put as Gene Constant, Shantavius Jones, and Quinton Pounds. But they're all different. Like Shantavius Jones is huge. Like
say that at the moment, Shantavius Jones is 4th behind Bernat of the Panthers.
Yeah.
He had a good game. He had a very good game.
But if you look at the average per catch, Jones is 17.6. Pounds is 17.9 average per catch. So you can't say they're just playing dink and dunk football. That's some long passes.
Yeah, I think with Jones as well, what you've also got to take into account is that team, like you've just been saying, they're struggling a little bit at quarterback, they're struggling a little bit on offense. They've come up against some very good defenses.
Yeah.
So I think taking that into account, you could fight the case that he is definitely up there, one of the top.
So let us know what you think about our power rankings, why we're right and why we're wrong, and give us yours in the comments below if you'd like. Anything else we want to touch on, boys, before we wrap it up?
What game are you looking forward to most next week?
They all look really good, but I think I am believing I'm a Dragons fan, so Dragon Hamburg.
Okay, I'm leaning more towards Centurions Panthers. I think that's going to be an interesting. Yeah, I think this is where the Centurions sort of can show that they're definitely up there with that top tier, or whether the Panthers sort of distance themselves away from that sort of with that top 3 group from everybody else.
Yeah, the Centurions just got to hope their defense can contain the Panthers, or they're not going to have a chance, because they've really some games get away from them.
Playoffs are creeping up, so it'd be interesting to just see where teams are at.
Yeah, so make sure you watch the games on Saturday if you are available. All the stuff is on their website and YouTube, though, so you can always do that. Make sure you're checking out our YouTube or our social medias. Craig, do you have our handles?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram and Twitter as TAFS_UK, TAFS_UK. On Facebook, just type in That American Football Show and you'll find us. And the same goes for YouTube. Just type in That American Football Show and you'll find us on there.
And make sure you check out some of our Elf Ballers videos. Like we said, we just had Gene Constant on, who was a great chat. And we are getting Justin Rogers on very soon. And he's an absolute baller for the Hamburg Sea Devils. So that's going to be exciting. Please leave us feedback. Leave us anything you want us to talk about. We're going to be touching more on NFL content as the season starts to ramp up. I know we've all been watching the training camp news excitedly. But thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you head over and check out our friends at EP Sports for all your NFL or equipment needs. And we will see you next week.